Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. We're in that time period where we're not getting much rains, so maybe things are copacetic around the house. However, things pop up out of nowhere, and it is good to know that you do not have to run for cover and ruin your day, ruin your week, ruin your month by having stress take over everything, because I know that happens to me. If you have any issues around your home, whether it's leaks early on, which is the best, or if you catch a little bit later, full-on water damage, Water Cleanup of Florida are the people to help you out. Nice and easy. Just give them a call. 24/7, 954-579-0356, or check them out on their website, WCUFL.com. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can reach out to them. The process is seamless. Once you give them a call and have them come out, now it's on them. Not only will they find the issue, fix the issue, but with their licensed, certified, insured contractors, they will make it look brand new. It will look, they worked on my home, it will look like nothing ever happened, which that's rare. That's the problem when things pop up. Not only, you have to shell out cash and go through a process, but it's always there, reminding you of what happened. No, because of how they work, you won't have to be reminded on a daily basis of the thing that happened to your beautiful home or your beautiful office. Water Cleanup of Florida will make it look brand new. 954-579-0356. Check them out on their socials at Water Cleanup FL. Also on Google, over 75-star reviews. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have schmutz, believe me, they have the guts. We know one of those organizations down here in South Florida, sports-wise, that's had the guts for the last 30 some odd years. They're about almost 30 years since Pat Riley came to the Miami Heat, is the Miami Heat. We talked with Sean Deveney. He's done a lot of reporting in regard to the Miami Heat trying to make moves. We talked with NBA reporter, writer, editor for Heavy.com, the one and only Sean Deveney, today on the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
We wanted to get a chance to speak about the NBA with one of our favorites. Guy's been a long-time friend of the program, and we hope that he considers us a friend of his. Sean Deveney, Heavy.com, with us, long-time writer for the Sporting News, been covering the NBA forever, and always does a great job, and it's a pleasure to have him on the show. Sean, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us here.
I'm doing well, Defo. Thanks for having me.
All right, who's this Japanese guy that the Lakers got? Rai Hachimura?
He was from Gonzaga.
Yeah.
He was good in college.
A number 9 pick in 2019. Just really hasn't found a place in the league. Is he a 3-and-D guy? Is he more than that? He really had a hard time, really defining where he fits in the league. They got Kyle Kuzma, and they've sort of committed to him, and that's left Hachimura out in the cold a little bit. He couldn't get an extension in the offseason. He was upset about that. So the Lakers make the trade for him, and he'll close out the year. Now, they're saying they want to keep him long-term. We'll see how that works out. He's only 25 years old, still has some potential, but it's a pretty wild swing from the Lakers at this point. Hard to say that this is the guy who's going to somehow save their season.
I still feel a little bit of Jewish guilt about this, where I traded some younger kid 3 Harry Cheedy baseball cards for a Mickey Mantle rookie card in mint condition, taking advantage of this kid's lack of knowledge about who the Mick was, and thinking he was getting 3 for 1. Well, what are 3 second-round picks worth? Are they the equivalent of the 3 Harry Cheedies? What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, exactly. And the Lakers have gotten themselves into a situation where, they don't want to trade their first rounders because there's a good chance those will be valuable. And when you're saying that our first rounders are going to be valuable in a couple of years, what you're saying is we might very well be terrible in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to give away those first rounders. So they're trying to find players they can bring in for second rounders. And they've been trying to do that pretty much all winter. And Hachimura was the best they could come up with. They've had a lot of talks. I mean, they've been very, very active in terms of trying to get blood out of a stone, because there's just not much on that roster that other teams want, and whether the Wizards would even keep Kendrick Nunn who was the other player who went to involved in the deal, went to Washington. Even that is unsure, but that's the Lakers are trying to get something from nothing at this point.
Kendrick Nunn, who we saw develop here with the Heat, has become the ultimate NBA carpetbagger, man. He's all over the place. He's always the guy that's thrown in with the six second-round picks, the deal. All right, now the networks, obviously, Sean Deveney would want nothing better than to see the Lakers be in contention and have a chance to win a title. And a 38-year-old LeBron who's having, MVP type of season, just a remarkable year. We don't know. I mean, is Anthony Davis more fragile than the English patient? I mean, if he comes back, obviously, with this Hachimura and Russell Westbrook was having a revival of sorts this year and was becoming a functional member of that team. Can the Lakers, I mean, it sounds like a stupid question. Obviously, they could become a factor. But do you see them developing and evolving as a factor and maybe even being capable of making a playoff run in the West?
Yeah, it certainly is possible, with the play-in especially, you're going to have more opportunities. They've played much better since the rough start they had. They were 13-20, and they've gone 9-5 since. They've been better. When Anthony Davis has played, before he got hurt, he was really playing pretty much as well as he's played since he's been.
They were coming around. So,
and things were looking better for them. The question is, is he going to come back and be that same kind of guy? Is he going to be a guy who's worried about getting injured, which is what we've seen a lot of from him in the past. So, if he comes back and he's playing the way he did when he went out, then yes, you've got to give them a chance. Part of the problem that they're looking at, though, is that, the bottom of the West isn't that bad, and Oklahoma City's been playing really, really well, and they could be a factor. They could factor into that into that play-in. The Suns have been really disappointing, but you got to figure they'll turn it around. Minnesota, so you've got a bunch of teams at the bottom there that are going to be hard for the Lakers to catch, even if they get Anthony Davis back and start playing better.
Don't mean to dwell on the Lakers, but one last thought. Will LeBron James, who still is playing at an unbelievable level at 38 and shows no sign of necessarily wear and tear, will he not only play with Bronny, but will he pull a Gordie Howe and play with his grandchildren in the NBA? Is there any chance?
I mean, the numbers that he's putting up now aren't that far off from when he was, 30 or 29. So, why not? He could certainly do at least a Tom Brady and play to his 45.
All right. Many other things to look at. Is Boston clear-cut the best in the league? I mean, they have the best record. What do you think? Did they sustain this the rest of the way? And what does it say about this first-year coach?
Yeah, I mean, they've gotten themselves right in terms of their defense. They came out and they were just shooting just on fire, really, for the first 25 games or so. And it was like they were shooting 40% from the three-point line. Everybody was making. They weren't playing a whole lot of defense. That sort of ground to a halt. And they've been able to revert to the team that they were last year, which wins with the top three defense, and could still outscore when they need to. So yeah, they've made the transition back to sort of what they should be. A lot of it's going to depend on, is Robert Williams going to stay healthy, which has been a pretty active question over the last couple of years. Can Al Horford hold up at age 37? That's going to be a question as well. Can Malcolm Brogdon, who's been a fantastic addition for them off the bench, can he hold up? He's had trouble with health in his career. So a lot of their issues right now are just a matter of, okay, can we stay healthy? Everybody's got that question, though. That's something that factors in for everybody. So, knowing that, then yeah, you'd have to have them as a pretty clear-cut favorite at this point.
Sean, when last we spoke, we talked about the Miami Heat, and you were pretty emphatic about the fact that the Heat need to make a move to get into that next place. And it's interesting. It was like they were reading your mind, because I saw within that day, I think, you reported that the Heat were not only specifically targeting John Collins, but just overall, the Heat have been one of the more aggressive teams as we approach, the trade deadline or the ending of trades in the NBA. Since then, I've seen you continue in that vein. I've seen the Heat rumored with various either guards, Collins again, or just, again, the Jay Crowder thing is hanging out there. When you look at Miami, and they have settled down a little bit, they are getting their guys back. They're now sitting around that 6th spot and in striking distance of anywhere from the 3 to the 5. What are feasible things for the Heat to do? Because the John Collins thing is just hanging out there, but it feels like there's no traction there. What do you feasibly think the Miami Heat are able to pull off in the next few weeks?
Yeah, if they're going to do something, look, they're going to do something. I think that, even though they played better, they stabilized, as you say, they're getting their guys back. I think they know that if they want to win a championship, and this team is not getting any younger, that they're going to have to add something that they're not going to get there with what they have right now. So they're going to do something. So do they do something major, or do they do something minor, or maybe slightly above minor, an adequate move? That's going to be the question. If they do something major, it'll involve Kyle Lowry. Because he's got the $30 million contract. If you can work out something with for DeAngelo Russell, that's been the guy who they sort of targeted. Minnesota doesn't want Lowry, but there's ways to possibly get a 3-way deal if you can find somebody who's interested in Lowry. So that's probably that's going to be the home run move, is something involving Lowry and bringing in another major player. If there's going to be a double up the middle kind of move, that mediocre move, but then that's like the Jay Crowder thing. If you can make a deal where you wind up not giving up too much and you wind up getting back Jay Crowder, I think that's in their back pocket. I think they feel like they can make that deal if push comes to shove, but they want to see if there's something bigger in the meantime before that deadline comes.
Sean Deveney, Heavy.com. You can find his work. Outstanding job covering the NBA for years and years and years, including going back to his days at the Sporting News, which, as I was saying, I mean, how times have changed. We couldn't wait to get our Sporting News back in the day when I was a kid growing up. I mean, all the stats in there was just, and we would memorize them. It was fantastic. And, now the entire, slate and the genre of sports journalism has changed and changed dramatically. It never ceases to amaze me. You mentioned unloading Kyle Lowry, which I would consider to be at $30 million a year, a massive amount of dead weight. And like that nondescript tag team partner that comes from those, tag teams out of the Midwest that's just in there to take a loss to the local guy. But, should Sam Bankman-Fried be running the NBA? If you can swing a deal where you can unload and exchange dead weight like that, I mean, how do teams do that? Where, you're taking on a guy that Pat Riley has already thrown in the towel on and is deemed to be a disappointing stiff. And you're going to trade for him and pay him $30 million. Yeah, you look at some of these guys, and it's insane that they can unload them.
Yeah, the only way that you can do it is A, give enough goodies that go along with it, or B, take on even more dead weight. So if you can attach a couple of draft picks to Kyle Lowry, now it's a different story. Or if you've got a team that's willing to take back the $30 million he's owed for next year, then you're probably going to be taking back, $80 million over 4 years. So that's the trade-off. And it's always been that way in the NBA. That part of the issue is just swapping dead weight. That's usually what happens at this time of year.
Very expensive dead weight. I mean, how much is Ben Simmons the lowest? The largest amount of dead weight that you could have on your roster at this point? Do like $50 million a year for the next several years?
Yeah, and he's got right. He's he's got another 4 years left. So yeah, that's probably the toughest contract. But even he got traded, right? I mean, he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
He had that contract, and he still got traded. So you can always find a spot for your dead weight in the NBA.
Somehow trades involving James Harden are always, seemingly preposterous. Also, there's always a lot of dead weight involved in that, including what now might be, Harden himself looking to go back to the Rockets. All right, Sean, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you taking time, to come back and be on an extended version of the show. We'll talk to you again real soon as things continue to develop in the National Basketball Association, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the show next time.
Okay, nice guys.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Sean Deveney, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Sean, obviously, we talked a lot about the NBA at large. Did make sure to talk about the Heat in there. He had, after we talked to him a couple weeks ago, right after he talked about the Heat are targeting John Collins. He also talked about the Heat are one of the more aggressive teams trying to make a move before the trade deadline. That is fast approaching. The Miami Heat have come out since saying they don't want to get rid of Kyle Lowry. I don't know what that means. To me, look, Kyle Lowry had a nice fourth quarter the other day and was big in the Heat overcoming a deficit. That made no sense because the Pelicans are missing two of their top three players. But Lowry did set a tone and help the Heat overcome that deficit and get a win. And so hold on to that 6th seed here as we are just past halfway point, getting close to the All-Star break. The Heat aren't winning and losing by Kyle Lowry. They're not. And they need young guard play, and they need another 4/big to help Bam. They just do. To play with Bam and then also let Bam leave the floor and not have everything fall apart. The Heat need that desperately. So to me, what Deveney said makes the most sense. Yeah, they're not trying to get rid of Lowry unless they can find a third. It's because Minnesota doesn't want Lowry. Like they want DeAngelo Russell, John Collins. Those are the two guys they've looked at as bigger moves. And then as Sean said, Jay Crowder's hanging out there as a tertiary move. As a guy, look, 2 years ago when they went to the finals, Crowder. Last year, PJ Tucker. The year in between when they did nothing, they didn't have that older four. Even if it's undersized, a guy that can play a long Bam and also can play when Bam's not there, be physical, get rebounds, play some defense, and hit some shots, hit some threes. They need that desperately now. That's what they're missing. But they want to go youth if they can, and they want to go a bigger splash if they can. And Deveney said the way to do that, Minnesota might not want Lowry, but if you bring a third team into it, then you never know. Things open up, and the Heat, when they're aggressive and they want something to happen, they usually find a way. That makes me feel really positive. The Heat right now aren't definitively a championship contender, right? They're in that 4 to 6 range. But if they can make a move, they're not that far from the 1 to 3 in the East, and the West is wide open. The West is a disaster right now. I think the Warriors and the Suns were supposed to be those two teams, and then the Clippers were hanging around, and none of them have been really good. So the NBA championship's wide open right now. And if you're the Heat, if you can go get someone, you can be right in the thick of it. The Celtics, they've had win streaks, but they're not a scary team. The Bucks, Giannis has finally had some injury stuff, so who knows what they are. They're a good team, but you never know. The Nets, Durant's now facing some injury stuff, and Irving's Irving. Miami Heat, with the right move, can really thrust themselves right into that conversation. Sean Deveney talked about it, and we will see what happens in the coming days. If you want to see what we got going on, check us out each and every morning, 7 to 9, the Defo Show with Lubie on South Florida Live. Check out our national podcast on the Believe Network. We talked with Brandon Lang at the end of last week. We got some things cooking this week. Always a lot of fun. The Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And our South Florida content right here. The Devo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.